I understand that you get a certain age and you expect more need for medical attention, but
Right.
this was just like a diving into that world.
It was many, many years with nothing.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden,
Yeah.
surgeries, cancers,
Yeah.
eye problems.
So the topic is
The medical industry.
the medical industrial complex
Yes.
versus alternative medicine. Would you call it alternative or
Functional.
functional? There's a lot. So we're entering a new phase. It's kind of been, as with a lot of things in this world, it takes time, a long time for people to change. It's a cultural shift.
Well, I feel like I learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Medically and nutritionally and
So
like, why didn't I know this all these years?
if you're a younger person and you're watching us, you know a different world than we know or knew. And when people who are our age and older were growing up, we knew the medical industrial complex, and that was it. There were health food stores, and in the 70s there started being chiropractors, and there was a big battle
And
there.
health food stores were basically just for hippies.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
we just ate
And-
what food was out there, and it was basically good for us.
And
it's changed.
And they
a
had the
lot.
food pyramid upside down.
Yeah.
They truly did. They had so many things wrong. So what we want to focus on is not slapping you in the face and telling you you're wrong, you need to change, but we want to bring something to presence of mind if you're not already there. And that is, there is another way of doing this. First, we should have at the very beginning gotten this out of the way. Disclaimer, we're not giving medical advice.
Absolutely not.
None of this is to be construed as medical advice. We're not medical professionals in any sense. So
We're just telling you our experience.
telling you our experience and,
and
our
what we've
opinion.
learned. Yes, in our opinion.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I'm saying that the culture has not changed quickly enough, in my opinion, to include alternative medicine, alternative healing. But what we really want to get into is the basis of this and why things are changing and need to change. And in my estimation, it is that one of the basic problems is arguably the third leading cause of death is medical malpractice.
That's a fact.
That's a fact. I mean, it's arguable, but we see it. We see 250,000 people die every year.
And it is called practicing.
They're practicing medicine.
It's
Think about what she said.
Guessing and
Yeah.
throwing something at it and seeing
It's
if it
like
works.
when I was
and
trying to learn
that
to
doesn't work.
when I was
we'll
doing
try this.
surfing, I would say I'm
Oh,
going
yeah,
to
I'm
go
going
trying, not surfing. I'm going to try to surf. Well, I'm practicing. Anything you practice, and that's what medical professionals are doing.
Yes.
Now, we understand, and we always talk about this, that if you are broken or torn or bludgeoned or battered, they can work miracles.
Absolutely.
They can put you back together, and
together
they can intervene with drugs and save you from dying.
That's for sure.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
But we have a problem with the larger picture, with the conflict of interests. But we'll get to that, the conflict of interest with inducement by drug companies with doctors, and it's just ugly.
It really is.
It really is ugly.
And there's nothing they can do. I mean, most of them, I think, went to school to try and heal people.
Right.
And, help people live better lives.
But they've gotten into that culture where they're not
captured.
They're not thinking about it the right way. And what they're not doing is what you might have a different experience. You might go to a doctor. You might have just a beautiful doctor that wants to know your story and wants to heal you rather than treat you, rather than throw prescriptions.
They don't want to see you every week.
Yeah.
And then there are the doctors that are forced to just
by their
treat
practices.
symptoms.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in the whole medical industry.
Industrial complex. Yeah.
The pharmaceutical companies, everything.
To do what?
To just treat the symptoms.
Yeah.
And
to manage your medical condition, to manage your illness.
Cure.
Think
because
about
they don't really know how to cure it.
think about these
They
terms.
could learn how to, like the functional medicine doctors.
I don't want disease management. I want root cause cure.
Yes.
I want to end disease. I don't
Yes.
want blood pressure medication. Oh,
What?
you know, they're checking your vitals.
Wait, what?
Oh, you've got
What?
high blood pressure. Here you go. Here's a prescription.
Take some of this stuff.
No, why do I have high blood pressure?
Exactly. Let's get to the root of the problem
So
that we can help it, and you usually can nutritionally, or
Yeah.
getting rid of heavy metals, or there are so many facets to it.
Yeah. We understand that to some of you, this is like changing your religion. We're coming to you and saying, don't be a Muslim,
Well, we're
be a
not saying
Christian.
that.
Don't be a Christian. We're not doing that.
We're just throwing this
We
out there.
want
So
you
it's
to-
just out there for discussion.
We want you to understand alternatives. Okay,
Yeah.
so here's the thing. If in my experience, which is limited with doctors, that's not that limited because I'm in my 60s now, and I've been put back together when I'm broken. Everything.
Did you just hurt yourself?
Something went in my eye. I've literally been bitten, bludgeoned, torn, car wrecks,
Yeah.
motorcycle wrecks,
Stabbed by
everything you could imagine.
tree trunk.
And doctors have saved me.
Yeah.
And they really have.
Oh yeah.
And then
Me too.
I've had some instances where I've gone to doctors and I've said, hey, I can't breathe, or hey, my heart is beating irregular, or hey, my blood pressure's high.
Yeah.
And they right away go to prescription, right? Now.
And they want to get you in and out as fast as possible.
Yes. Yes.
And you have to fill out all these forms, and it's like they didn't even read the forms.
Mm-hmm.
They're just like, all right, tell me what's the deal,
And
and
the
then
nurse-
they don't even know your background.
They don't want to know.
Yeah, it's just.
And like I said, some of you may have a
disheartening.
different experience, but I think a lot of us have the experience where you go in, it's very frenzied. There are a lot of people in
And
the waiting room.
I don't think they want to be like that.
Yeah.
I think they want to spend time, but
It's
they
just
can't.
become
They
the
just
culture.
cannot.
It's just become the culture. And I fantasized all these times in the past 2 decades where I've started to need doctors more and more. I really fantasize about the old country doctor
Yes.
that you go and sit with, or they come to your house and say, what's ailing you? And they talk to you and they hear
Yeah.
your story.
And they ask you questions
Yeah.
like, what,
Remember that
what
show,
have you been
House?
eating?
Was it
How
called
late do you
House?
stay up? Do you get good sleep? Yeah, House.
That was the name of the show?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dr. House.
And he was a guy that looked at medicine forensically and tried to figure out what could have caused this.
Right.
And remove the
He would
cause.
send people to their houses,
Yeah.
the patients' houses, to figure out if there's anything that could be affecting them there. And
Yeah.
it was pretty good show.
So what I'm saying by comparison is what we're saying is you go into that frenzied medical industrial complex environment and they want to know what's wrong. Okay, we've got a drug for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a problem there. There's a huge conflict of interest problem.
Because not everybody's the same. You can't just treat everybody the same and give them the same drug and just expect it
And also
to work.
there's
sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't.
that's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
yeah.
If you follow the money, there's problems, and one of those is inducement with these physicians. A lot of them are good people with moral
Absolutely.
compass, and others are
Most of them.
unconscionable. They will take the kickbacks and they will feed on them. Oh, you're going to give me a trip to where? Oh, I'm going to Greece for a week. Oh, that's some mighty fine wine you've given me and my wife. We appreciate that, Fred.
Yeah.
Come to the office and show us some more of your drugs and give us another speech and give me some more of those tickets to ball games in the box,
Or
the
whatever.
Pfizer box
Yeah.
at the stadium, whatever.
Exactly.
We're not saying, we're just saying.
It could be this.
That's a big problem.
Yeah. But then there is an alternative. And we have sought out doctors in our area that are functional medicine doctors who come at it at a like more nutrition based science.
It's an organic approach.
And that's getting harder and harder because our foods are not as nutritious as they used to be.
Yeah.
And even they're touting these foods as health foods, and they are not. You have to look at all the ingredients, and then you have to look at other ingredients. So it's just, it's frustrating these
Yeah.
days.
So what you do, what you find, or what we find, the basic difference is between going to a doctor and going to a functional medical person. And you know, just like MDs with functional medical doctors, they can be doctors, they can be chiropractors, they can be nutritionists, they can have any manner of degrees.
PAs.
Yeah,
Yep.
and you're going to find some are great and some are not as great. They're just like anybody else, right? But what their focus is your story. And
Right.
your doctor's not going to sit there with you and hear your story.
For hours.
These people are paid. The first one that Jennifer hooked up with, well, the second one actually, second or third. You went to that other doctor that put the
Oh yeah.
So the first real experience Jennifer had was the girl spent
3 hours.
3 hours with her on a
This
teleconference.
is the first appointment.
And she wanted to know your whole story,
The
didn't
whole
she?
story, yes.
Your childhood,
Yep.
what you might have been exposed to in your household,
Yep.
at summer camp,
What
at school.
what work do you do? What are there chemicals involved?
What was your school painted with?
What kind of water do you drink?
Yeah. What did you grow up drinking?
Yep. What
How
do you
much candy
what do
did
you
you eat? That's a bad one
I
for
was
me.
kind of a candy person when
Yeah.
I was younger, but I'm not. I'm like the opposite now. I'm just not really a sweet tooth person.
But they want to know your whole story from the beginning to now, and what what has caused your health trajectory to be the way it is.
And then from there, they decide, okay, we need to do all of these tests to see, because here's what I'm thinking.
According
and
to
then
what
they'll
they're
tell
learning
you,
from you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They'll say, sounds kind of to me like, with me, it was adrenal fatigue, a few gut things, and...
Which affected you profoundly in a multitude of ways.
It really did.
Yeah.
I had
You didn't know it was
panic
you
attack.
didn't know
I've
what
never
it
had
was.
anxiety
Yeah.
before, and I all of a sudden one day had a panic attack.
But
I
you
couldn't
say
breathe.
You say adrenal fatigue.
Yeah.
You had no idea.
Oh, I would have never thought of that.
She finally unearthed that.
And then did all the testing, like blood testing, stool testing, urine analysis for heavy metals.
They can do saliva, hair,
hair,
whatever.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, so there are so many tools in their arsenal.
What kind of fillings did you have? If you had
Yes.
cavities, what kind of water did you have? A lot of fluoride in your water, just mercury and different. Yeah, I told.
I'm heavy in arsenic. I can't believe that. It's like,
Yeah.
where did I get arsenic?
But typically, your doctor does not have the time. They're, you know, if you say you present with certain symptoms, they're going to say, "Oh, let's just do a blood panel," and that blood panel might be 3 or 4 things. They might,
and their parameters are different
Yeah.
than a functional medicine parameter.
It seems to me that they want to know what. I hate to sound so negative, but a lot of times they want to suspect the things that'll get the standard medications that they can prescribe. I don't know, but it's not. It's not what's your story, and they don't have the time. And right then and there, you should. If you're feeling that way, and you're going to a traditional medical doctor,
and nobody can figure out
and you're
what's
feeling
wrong.
like they don't care because you're not. They're not spending much time with you, and you're like in a hurry.
Yeah.
Something's wrong. Listen to your intuition. Your intuition is telling you this is not the way it should be.
Yeah.
There is another way, and that is functional or alternative medicine.
And with functional medicine, generally, insurance is not going to pay for that. So that is a problem for people.
However, it will pay for a lot of the testings, which is an expensive part of it.
And you can use an HSA, which is a health savings account, to pay for your functional medicine.
Explain a little bit about that, because I didn't know any of that.
That is an account that you put money in. You can do investing in.
It's through your
in
insurance.
account.
Like we have Blue Cross Blue Shield
right,
now.
yep.
And so you want to choose an insurance that offers
An
health
HSA,
savings
yes.
account.
Yep.
HSA.
And the money that you put into that is not taxable.
So you're getting that
not
money
being taxed
slides
on that
under
money that you're
slides under
paying.
the tax
Yes.
gate and goes right into your health savings, and then when you spend it, it's not taxed.
Right.
That's remarkable.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So then you're going to pay out of pocket probably for your time with your doctor, or they have health coaches they have a group of people that work with you, because one person might not be able to spend all that time with you. Your doctor even had a girl in the teleconference, like
she typed
taking
every
everything,
word,
like a stenographer.
Yes, and then they send it to you after, so you can read every single word
that you talked about.
Yes,
and then their
it's
hypothesis.
amazing. Yes.
Yep.
And so you can refer back again and again, and you can refer back to your labs, and they go over your labs like extensively, and then come up with a plan. All right, so here's how we're going to address this. Here's how we're going to address this. And generally, it's just basically lifestyle changes. I mean, some of them are not even difficult. Most of it's not difficult. It's just small little changes that you make, and then you feel so much better. And you feel at first like, oh, this is kind of expensive. But then in the end, you're going to spend so much less than you would have on all of the drugs. And
instead of going to a doctor over and over and over, what's wrong with me? We still didn't.
Exactly. Nobody can figure out what's wrong with me. Well,
instead of going in, having all your information on the table and all the questions asked and getting all the tests, they're like, well, let's do this one test. But meanwhile, you need these pills to cause, which a lot of times, and some people still don't understand this, a lot of these prescriptions are very dangerous because they cause, this is not
side
me,
effects.
this is just known.
It's just
a fact. They cause side effects. They cause other illnesses. The one thing that solves one problem causes another problem. So sometimes the cure is worse than the disease because it can cause a worse
and
complication.
I forget who said it, but when you have a cold and you take cold medicine, you're curing the cure, because the cure is your body fighting it and draining, basically. Yeah. And you're stopping the draining.
It's an antihistamine.
Yeah. So you're drying everything up, but that's not allowing your body to get rid of all of the
that's just like
virus
it's just like the Nexi or not. What's the stuff you take for?
Yeah. You're curing the cure.
Yeah.
So basically, you're just keeping the sickness.
No, I'm talking about when you have acid reflux.
Oh, I know.
These people are taking these pills. I can't think of the name.
Nexium and.
It's funny that I burp. But what's happening there is very basic. If your stomach produces stomach acid, right? Why?
You want that.
You want that, right? You want that stuff that goes in you to be broken down.
More acid.
Right?
Yeah.
So you might have a problem that needs to be fixed. You might have a sphincter that needs to be relocated.
Or visceral manipulation.
Or you might have a diet issue. You might need to change your diet. But what you definitely don't, in my opinion, and in a lot of holistic healers' opinions, what you don't need to be doing is shutting your stomach pump off.
Absolutely not.
Because you're stopping the acid, which means your food is fermenting rather than breaking down with digesting with acid before it gets dumped into your, Yeah. That's terrible. It's a terrible way of dealing with that. And then that causes other problems.
Yeah.
It causes health problems because your body's not processing your food properly.
And you can't take you have no nutrient uptake.
And you're wondering why you can't poop, and you're wondering why everything's so weird, and all health begins in the gut. All illness begins in the gut. It's very important. So, a lot of these drugs are causing other problems. So we're covering this symptom, and it's like whack-a-mole, right?
Yeah.
You whack this mole, something pops up over here. You whack that. Yeah, you get that mole down.
And sometimes people get prescribed too that interact with each other that can kill you, or
we're talking about medical malpractice being a leading cause of death. And didn't you just tell me the other day, and I hear these stories all the time, you told me you knew someone who had an organ transplant, and they gave them the wrong medicine that was supposed to prevent them from
their body rejecting the organ.
They gave them 10 times too much or something, and they lost the organ because of this.
And my friend donated it to him, so now she's out a kidney, and he's dying because...
Say their names.
It's really sad.
Yeah.
It's very sad.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
And it's just because someone I'm in a hurry and wrote down a prescription or the indications and gave way too much.
Yeah.
Like told me more than 100 times too much.
I can't remember what it was, but it was bad.
because of errors. So
Yeah, so that devastates more than one life. I mean, and she's a mom, so her kids, and it's just.
I have a story that's too personal to even tell, of the horse doctor that just.
Oh yeah.
Caused me. I should tell that story. It's pretty gruesome.
Go ahead.
Not that I have a grudge.
He's probably not.
We'll cut this part
around
out.
Anymore.
When I was a child, I had a problem with bedwetting, and
that's psychological right there.
who knows? Yeah, it could have been abuse and trauma, and not, and having no security, no blind.
It could have been that.
We moved. We moved every couple of months. My abusive father had finally run off, and it was. I had a beautiful childhood, but I had problems where I would be asleep, and of course, when you have problems like that, nobody understands.
Oh yeah,
remember the movie James at 17,
you're doing it on purpose,
where his mother hung his urine sheet outside of the window, and the second story, and he came home from school and his yellow sheet was sticking out the window because his mother was pissed.
That is so
traumatic.
So mean.
It was a traumatic thing, and I don't know if it was a nutritional thing or
she never read the parenting book,
or if mine was an emotional thing or what. But I would go to sleep, and I would thankfully get into that deep REM sleep, and I got no signal. And of course, other kids think, "Wow, you're too late. You'd rather piss on yourself than go to the bathroom."
Yeah.
That's and nobody knew because I didn't go to sleepovers or anything like that. It was pretty horrible.
I wet the bed once or twice.
So my mother,
sorry, Mom.
My mother, who was endlessly loving, and for all the hell we went through, we had a good mother, and she did the best she could. And she took me to a doctor, and I always say he was a damn horse doctor.
He probably wasn't that.
And he looked me over and he checked things out, and he said, "His urethra's too big. The opening of the end of his penis is probably needs to be smaller so the urine doesn't come out at night." A medical doctor, right? This is a medical doctor in the 1960s or late 60s.
Talk about guessing.
Yeah.
With no basis for the guess at all. He thought,
what do I do? What do we do if it's
cut it and
too
stitch
big?
It up.
He cut me, and he sewed me up, and he decreased the size of my urethra.
He really didn't decrease the size of your urethra.
He didn't do anything. He just caused a lot of pain. It was a freaking horror show. I'm a little kid with, getting injected in my, and then getting sewn up, and I'm sitting there in freaking horror. And the pain of urinating through that. Anyway, that was my nightmare. And then I was like, stay away from doctors.
Mm-hmm.
Stay the hell away from doctors. And I kept kneeling down on Coke bottles and flying through windshields, and I kept having to go to them. But
me too.
Yeah. So.
But I was always just getting stitched up.
But what do they call the lowest? How's that joke go? What's the lowest scoring medical professional in his graduating class? What do they call them?
Doctor?
After graduating, doctor.
MD.
Yeah. The person who did the worst in your graduating medical class, what do they call him? Doctor. So that was that guy. And I gotta say this. I talked to my doctor about alternative medicine, and he looks at me. We stop what we're doing. He looks at me. He says, "Yeah, all they're gonna do is order a bunch of tests, ask you a bunch of questions, and then sell you a bunch of vitamins and supplements."
Wait, tell you have leaky gut.
Tell you have leaky gut. That's all they do. Yeah. All they do is ask questions.
That's all they do.
Order a bunch of tests, tell you have leaky gut, and sell you a bunch of vitamins and supplements.
Well, one thing I would like to say about that is, of course, you're gonna be deficient in some vitamins and minerals or whatever, and you can see it on your labs. And the things that my doctor prescribed, the supplements that my doctor prescribed to me, she gave me a website. I went to it and I looked everywhere to find them cheaper, and they were the cheapest that you can get on this website. And it was the exact same company,
right?
Same.
So you didn't feel like she
thing.
was hustling you her supplements.
Exactly.
See, that's cool.
Yes.
So think about that. It's just like anything else. You can have with medical doctors, you can have hopefully good doctors, and you can have some corrupt, careless doctors. With chiropractors, you can have these guys and gals. It seems like they went to marketing school.
Yeah.
More than
really
any kind of medical school. And others that just really care about your health. They're not trying to do a bunch of x-rays.
It's that way with everything, though.
Yeah, so you might as well go the holistic route.
Exactly.
At least to me.
It's right there. It's the science. You are looking at it.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah. Continuity?
Never mind.
Anyway, we wanted to share that with you to at least just get you thinking about this alternative.
So, yeah, and it's basically, most places it's called functional medicine. Yeah. And they look for the root cause, and they help you to heal it.
Yeah. And there are some tests that so if you want to get, save money and go the DIY route, you can get tests and kits, and you can't really draw your own blood. But you can find different companies.
You pay $50 and you have a full blood.
Like I went to that ARC company, ARC that you sent me to, and they were going to draw my blood, but I needed a copper test, and they said, "Oh, we can't do it." They were going to take $50.
How was your copper?
It was good. So then I ended up going to LabCorp, which is hundreds of dollars, but the insurance, I think, paid for it.
They did.
So you can do these. I don't know if you can do a stool test. Maybe with some companies you can.
Yeah.
And not have it ordered by a professional. But just look around and do some research. And you can do heavy metals tests, like saliva, urine tests, toxins, environmental toxins. Heavy metals are important. Allergies are very important.
Yeah.
I found food allergies by doing a test. And I found that I have elevated thyroid elements that show that I could have Hashimoto's disease, like our son is told he could have.
But then they're going to have a way for you to naturally heal that.
Decrease, it's safe and doesn't cause another problem. That's what I'm looking for.
Exactly. Instead of just, here, take some Zinthroid or whatever. And
I think that kind of covers what we wanted to talk about today, right? Just to familiarize people, if you're not familiar already, with alternative or functional medicine. And it's not, we say it's new, it's not that new.
No, it's...
Past 20, 30 years, it's really gained traction.
Yeah. I mean, say 10 years ago, I was kind of looking for DOs, doctor of...
Osteopathy?
Yeah, where they are more of a holistic type thing.
Right, so
that's a holistic doctor.
That's a good idea.
Where they take your whole being into consideration.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
So read the comments below. There's going to be a lot of people commenting about their experiences, and
we want to hear about yours.
They're going to talk about doctors of osteopathy, alternative medical healers, chiropractors who have studied this stuff. And remember, you're getting tests. You're going to get a copy of your results. They're going to get a copy of your results. Together, you're going to figure something out, hopefully. And
we did. I mean, I feel so much better.
Yeah, so the net result was she helped you heal
I just had
yourself.
to change a few things, like
you were getting up in the
out,
morning, you were fasting. We do intermittent fasting. So she wasn't taking any calories in, and she was drinking a lot of caffeine.
A lot.
And then she was working out like a mad woman, like a 25-year-old. You look like a 25-year-old. But you shouldn't have done that. And I was worried about you because I knew you were overexerting yourself. Yeah. And you fatigued your adrenals.
I mean, I had a day where the day that I had my panic attack.
The meltdown.
I had to quit my workout in the middle of it. And I went and looked at myself in the mirror, and I was white. Yeah. And I felt like I couldn't breathe, and I was just like, oh my God, like just lightheaded, and how am I going to get through this day? I had to go to work, and that didn't work out.
With testing, they get a snapshot, and they know they can figure out what's going on. Yeah. Most of the time, a lot of the stuff we have is pretty understandable. And remember, the body is designed to be well.
Yes.
There are exceptions to the rule, but most of us are in homeostasis. We're designed to be healthy. We're meant to be healthy.
Our immune systems are meant to fight off whatever we come into contact with.
And otherwise, you have the right to expect that. You should expect that. And if you're not healthy, it's something you're putting into your body more likely. or maybe something you're not putting into your body.
True.
But more than likely, we need to start maybe try elimination diets and just stop eating so much damn food and drinking so many different things.
Processed food and
just
alcohol, which I love.
Yeah.
But
just eliminate things that are bad for you. Coffee is a big one. We've talked a lot about that. Caffeine attaching to the adenosine receptors, and you can't sleep at night.
And then you can't sleep.
Because you've attached caffeine to those receptors that your adenosine is supposed to dock at.
And then you wake up in the morning and you're like, I need coffee so I can wake up.
Or you have a bunch of beers during the day, during the afternoon, and at 3 in the morning, all that stuff has been converting, and now it's converting to sugar.
Well, if you have them at 3 in the afternoon, generally it'll...
If you have them at 3, you're probably having them at 6 or 7 too. And then you're like, why am I popping up at 3 in the morning? Because your coal plant is turned on.
Yeah.
You're burning that sugar.
Your body's like, okay, done.
Okay.
Let's wake up.
Here it
you
is.
feel like you get punched in the face.
Here's your rush.
Yeah.
All right. I think we got. Again, we'll end with this. Arguably the third. Some people will say it's heart attack, stroke, cancer are the leading causes of death. The others say no. Medical malpractice or the medical industry killing people trumps all of those.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, it's the third leading.
Do you think it's time
death.
you start to think maybe it's time to try something different?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay. That it?
Thank you so much for watching.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Be sure to like and subscribe. We'll try to
read the comments. I'm sure there will be some fun ones.
We'll try to have more words, more talks, more time with you in the future. But for now, adieu. Thank you.